How many of you experience overwhelm right at the beginning of the day, where you feel like there is too much to be done and you do not have enough time? Or how many of you feel confused and stuck because there are things that need to be done and all of them seem equally important, leaving it difficult for you to start with anything at all? If you have been experiencing any of this, then this video is for you. In this video, we will talk about the mindsets which are leading to this sense of overwhelm, especially in working women. And you will also learn what are some things that you can do to overcome this sense of overwhelm for good. Hi, I'm Divya Tampi. I'm a smart productivity coach and I help working women achieve their goals 5 times faster. So let's jump right in. The first belief that prevents people from being able to do their best and leaves them in the space of overwhelm is the idea that I should always complete every task that comes my way. Here's the thing, productivity is not about doing and completing everything that comes your way. Your biggest responsibility, in fact, is to categorize every task that comes your way into 2 categories. One is important and useful, and another is unimportant and not useful. The more you focus on the important tasks that come your way, and the more you let go of the unimportant tasks, the easier it will be for you to create success and achieve the results that you set out to achieve. And this is true for every area of your life. So productivity is not about completing everything that comes your way. It is not about getting a lot of things done. It is about getting the right things done. So you need to develop the skill to step back and look at what is more important, do those, and identify what are the things which are not important and say no to those. You may have heard about the Pareto's principle, which is also the 80-20 rule, which says that 80% of all results come from 20% of the work that you do. So your job is to identify 20% of all the tasks that come to you, which are the most important, and spend your time focusing on those 20% of tasks. And you will be amazed at the kind of results that you will be able to generate. The second belief that puts us into the state of overwhelm is the idea that planning time is wasted time. Most of you at some point of time in your life must have cut vegetables, especially tomatoes. If you have ever tried to cut a tomato with a blunt knife, you know that feeling of frustration that you experience when the tomato does not cut, despite the fact that it is actually a soft vegetable. Now, the reason why this happens, of course, is the fact that the knife is not sharp. So when people do not take the time to sharpen their knife, then the whole process of cutting vegetables becomes tedious and takes a lot of time. The same thing applies in your life as well. Instead of actually sharpening your knife, you need to spend time planning your work. Right? So you need to plan your work a day in advance, but also a week in advance, where possible a month in advance, right? But let's start with small things. Even if you start the simple process where the previous night or previous evening after you finish your work, you sit down and take 15 minutes to think about all the tasks that need to be done the next day and looking at what is the priority for the next day and what are the things which are actually not priority, this will create a lot of clarity. Now, when the morning starts, our brain is actually primed for action. Right? It has the energy which is required for you to take action. However, most people end up thinking about what they should be working on in the morning, and that is not the time for your brain to start taking decisions. Now, the previous evening, because you have completed the work of the previous evening, you're already in that mode of thinking about work. It's easier for you to come up with a list of tasks that need to be completed and also to prioritize what is important and what is not important. And the next morning, now you're feeling clear and energetic and you know exactly what you should be focusing on first. And this takes away the sense of overwhelm you would otherwise experience. Similarly, if you were to plan your week in advance, which means you sit down on a Saturday or a Friday or a Sunday for that matter, and look at your entire week and all the things that need to be done, prioritize them and schedule them in your calendar, you will be amazed at the sense of relaxation that you will experience even on a Sunday afternoon. And you would also, in fact, look forward to the work because you will start enjoying the process of doing focused work and coming up with creative ideas. The third belief that leaves working women in a state of overwhelm is the thought that it is my responsibility to not disappoint or upset other people. Now, This is something which has been socialized into most women, where we take it as our responsibility to make sure that everybody is feeling all right. Now, what happens as a result is every time somebody makes a request or wants something out of us, or is expecting us to do something which may not even be our responsibility, we feel obliged to do those things. We may not be happy about doing it. We may, in fact, even be resentful at times, but we do not feel like we can say no. Because we believe that if you said no, then the other person would be upset, the other person would be dejected or disappointed, and you would not want to do that to them. So here's the thing that you may want to remember at all times, that managing other people's emotions is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to manage your own emotions. The only person whose happiness you're responsible for is you. Many times we are making the assumption that people expect us to help them. But a lot of times they are actually asking us a question, and they would be all right even if we said a no. But the perception in a lot of women's minds is that it is not okay to say no. It would be impolite and upsetting for the other person. So whether it is family members, whether it is colleagues, whether it is clients, okay, it's really important that when somebody comes to you with a request, or some task has been assigned to you, take a moment, pause, look at it, and think about whether you have the time to do it, whether it is absolutely important for you to do it, and whether it is urgent for you to be catering to that. Okay, so take a moment to think about it, and if you're not sure in that moment, buy a little time from that person. So if they're asking you for some kind of help, you can tell them that, I'll come back to you in about 5 minutes. Let me call you back in 10 minutes. Buy that time to think about it. Okay, and then you can go back and respond and say that, I'm in the midst of something and I will not be able to do this right now. I could do this for you tomorrow, or you could give them whatever timeline, or you could even say, I'm really sorry, but I will not be able to do this. You don't really even have to apologize. You can say something as straight as, I will not be able to do this for you today. You'd be surprised at how many people are really okay with you saying no. And of course, there will be some people who will not be so happy, but that's okay because they are used to you saying yes most of the time. But when you slowly get into a habit of saying no to things which are not adding value to you, people will slowly and steadily learn that they cannot take you for granted. Of course, this requires some amount of practice. The fourth mindset that leads to overwhelm is the mindset of perfection. The idea that whatever I do should be done perfectly. You see, perfection is an illusion. There's nothing called perfection. Yes, you can pursue excellence, but you can't really pursue perfection. This is especially true when you're doing something for the first time. And whenever you're trying to grow and stretch yourself, you are trying to do things that you've never done before. So whenever you're trying to do something new or for the first time, it's important that you do not focus on perfection. In fact, the first few times, don't even focus on excellence. Focus on getting started. Okay, focus on what is the first step that you need to take. Take that step, and if you're unsure about what needs to be done next, ask help. Most people hesitate to ask for help. So go ahead, ask for help, find out what needs to be done and do that again. It's very important to experiment, to try, to make the mistakes, because it is only through that experience that you will learn what the right path is. And as you keep doing this again and again and again, you will keep getting better, and you will be amazed at the amount of progress that you are able to make surely by practicing and refusing to give up, and by refusing to give in to the idea of perfection. The fifth misleading mindset leading to overwhelm is the idea that I qualify as intelligent and capable only if I know all the answers. This is also one of the reasons why women will not even apply for higher positions unless they feel that they meet 100% of the criteria required for the job, which is not the case for men. Men will apply for a new role even if they meet only 60% of the criteria. You don't have to know how to achieve a goal before you even set a goal. So go ahead, set ambitious goal which you have no idea how to achieve. Because once you set a goal that excites you, you can start thinking about what should be the roadmap, what may be the approximate way in which you can go ahead and achieve that goal. And as a part of this, set some milestones. So if you are looking at achieving something in, let's say, 1 month's time, break it down into 4-5 parts and look at what is it that you need to achieve in 1 week's time to be able to move forward. The first few steps would be for you to in fact research and figure out what the pathway or the roadmap should be, okay, and make sure that you take help in this process. Once you have an approximate roadmap, start taking action, because it is in taking action that you will understand and learn how to move forward. There is no replacement for experience. So don't get trapped in this place of preparation. It is a trap that a lot of people get stuck in, where they tell themselves that first I will learn and understand and feel really good and confident, and only then will I start working on a goal. Okay, this is a big trap, because there is no end to how much you can learn. You're not going to become an expert by sheerly reading and researching. You can only become an expert by starting to apply, making mistakes, and learning from those. Look at any successful person around you. The way they have gone about achieving success in their life is not by being an expert at the very beginning, but by setting goals which were really big for them, which they had no clue how to achieve, but they actually broke down that goal into parts and milestones. Then they took help, put in the effort, stayed consistent, and persisted even in the face of difficulties. So your job is to set big goals, go after them, and refuse to quit. The sixth belief that leads to overwhelm is my inability to manage all the work that comes my way is a personality flaw. Managing your time and attention are skills that need to be developed. It has nothing to do with your personality. Of course, if you have grown up in an environment where people around you were very good at managing their attention, planning, were more structured and organized, then chances are you have taken on some of those capabilities as well. And you may have been good at it from a younger age. But for those of us who have grown up in an environment where the skill was not demonstrated, and we live in a society where this is not part of the schooling system. We are not taught how to plan, we are not taught how to organize our time, we are not taught how to manage our attention. So remember that these are skills that every person needs to learn and practice, because the more you practice the skill, the better you become. So the more you learn how to plan and practice it, the better you will become at planning. The more you practice how to focus your attention, the better you will become at it. Okay, so these are not personality traits, these are skills that you can learn and apply and get better at. So these are the 6 mindsets that lead to overwhelm in your life, in your work, and in your personal life. Let me know in the comments which one of these mindsets is the one that you want to get rid of. Which is the mindset that you plan to work on first? I'd love to hear from you, and I'll make sure that I respond to your comment. Okay. And also make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, because I'll be coming up with more videos like these. And before I end, I want to tell you that all these things that I told you is not something that you apply overnight and change in yourself. Okay, so pick up one thing at a time, start working on it, bring about the change, and do it over a period of few months, and you will be amazed at what you're able to achieve when you focus on one thing at a time. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again in the next video.